Alright, so I'm going to kind of go over the lightsaber, my customized Darth Maul lightsaber. So I took a Galaxy's Edge lightsaber from here at Walt Disney World, the Darth Maul, and I completely ripped out the internals of it. Modified the original chassis so I could still keep the Galaxy's Edge blade mounting system, but then 3D printed a new chassis so I could wind up running a Golden Harvest V3 soundboard, an 18650 battery, and then a larger 28mm speaker. And then this all now becomes a new chassis that slides into the casing of the hilt now. Did take quite a bit of work kind of figuring out the chassis side of things, and then getting the lightsaber taken apart. That wasn't super complicated. It does require a heat gun though, because you do have to heat up the epoxy residue, or the epoxy glue that they use to hold the emitter on there, and then get that removed from the actual blade itself. There's a couple of little tricky spots. The like screws and things like that on there all have a little bit of glue and stuff. So those are other things you kind of have to keep in mind out for. There's two little pins that hold the cap for the button on as well. Yeah, managed to get everything taken care of. Alright, so here we have the chassis. This right here, the upper portion of it is still the original portion of the internal chassis for the Darth Maul lightsaber. This other half, however, as you can see there with the board, is the piece that I wound up 3D printing. Now, I went a little bit more in depth than probably was required, but I wanted it to just have a nice, like, finished feel to it, I guess, if you want to call it that. I printed a little bit of a groove on the top portion of it, so it actually fits where the original soundboard for the lightsaber was at. So there was a little section where the original like board sits in there. It was just a little tiny round board, and I used that groove that the board would sit in there as a groove to hold the two chassis together, so they don't come apart, which is really nice for sliding it in and out of the chassis. So here we have the 18650 battery slot, and then obviously the Golden Harvest V3 board is right inside there. It still has, like I said, the original Galaxy's Edge blade mounting and contact system. So it just has the power, the ground, and then the data line running to it, and then power and ground running onto the battery system, and then the speaker. 28mm. I probably could have looked at getting a little bit nicer speaker. This was just a really cheap and expensive one that was part of a 2-pack, but it works. So it's the one that I went with. It slides right into the chassis. Every once in a while it does hang up just on some of the inner edges of it, but for the most part I haven't had too many problems with getting it in and out of the chassis. See here, sort of slides right in. The little tabs there kind of help to get it out. And there we go. Nothing too complicated. Okay, so now getting on to kind of assembly and how everything works on it. So, slid the chassis in, put the battery in there. There was a set screw that was part of the original design. So it just goes right back where it goes. It kind of helps keep the chassis from rotating. And the reason you don't want the chassis rotating is because you want to be able to have the upper portion thread on correctly. This guy just pops, sort of sits on here, and then you have the emitter portion goes on. And then the emitter portion just threads on. Yeah. So, anyways, emitter portion, it has motion controls. I have a little tiny button. This is where I was talking about where I need to kind of figure out a better solution for this, because that button's really hard to pull back out. This is the original one that I modified to have a little cap. As you can see there, it fell right out. So, really, I only need that button on there if I'm like trying to change controls, trying to activate the sound fonts, things like that, like the background music fonts and stuff. Otherwise, it has the gesture control, so it has the twist on, it has the twist off. So I don't really need it. And then the accessory button I can still press without any issues. So, got it all reassembled here. And here is the Galaxy's Edge blade. Now, it's not still the original Galaxy's Edge blade. I, again, took the interior pixel setup that they had originally, the LED setup that they had originally, pulled it out, added a set of pixel strips stuck together, measured, cut, placed them in here inside the little foam diffuser, and then I wired them to the cap, the original mounting system, which has allowed me to keep the original Galaxy's Edge mounting system. So it just twists. And apparently it's just giving me a lot of difficulty today. Why do you not want to go in? Twist. And then it just sort of locks into place. Anyway, okay, I'm having way more trouble with this than normal. I think the tape I use a bit of like electrical tape to kind of like make all the fittings a little bit tighter. I think they're fighting it back against me right now. So, blade is in, and now apparently blade is not in. Alright. Hold on a second. That's very odd. I know what's wrong. It's not lining up. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and fix that, and then we'll get back into it. Okay. Got it all sorted out here. The emitter, like the locking ring, just was... Yeah, okay, that's much better. The locking ring, I guess it slipped whenever it was tightening the emitter down, so it didn't actually make the correct contacts. And now... there we go. Alright, so as you guys can hear, smooth swing. That's the Golden Harvest board there. Now I still have my little accessory button. Little blaster blocks. Ooh, that lock up. Clashes. All that sort of stuff like that. And then again, twist the power off. So, like that pixel blade, a lot brighter, a lot smoother animations. You can do more animations with it. The board has obviously the motion controls. If I do stuff kind of like in different directions, to get different effects. I still need to mess with the Golden Harvest board and some of the settings and stuff. Oh yeah, that's a cool little deactivation. So there's still a few things I need to go in and set, and I'm still learning the software for the Golden Harvest board. It's a super capable board for the price. Like obviously there's the Profi, which is kind of the like end-all be-all when it comes to like soundboards, but it's also like anywhere from like $100 to like $110. This is, you can even get it on sale sometimes for half the price, and it does almost all of the same stuff. You lose out on just a few of the kind of like pixel blade specific animations and some of those things, but even then you can still add in your own custom fonts. You can still add in other people's custom fonts and all that sort of stuff and make it like really yours. So I've had a fantastic time with it. I have a ton of fun converting this. Darth Maul is my favorite character in Star Wars, and I love having this blade so much, and it's really cool being able to have it like fully custom and look and sound so much better. Like, I don't want to hate on the Galaxy's Edge lightsabers, but I wanted them to have. I think the general consensus is that there are aftermarket companies out there making replicas and stuff that do all this stuff that's so much better. But yeah, anyways, it's cool. It's cool being able to take this. I originally modded my Asajj Ventress. To make a mess. I originally modded my Asajj Ventress, which, much to the dismay of some people, informing me that it is now a $1,200 lightsaber on eBay and stuff. I gutted it, put all the electronics in it originally, and I was walking around with it, and it was cool just seeing people be like, oh, that's the Galaxy Edge one, and then all of a sudden it's got these custom animations, and the blade's brighter, and the sound's different, and then now I'll be able to do that exact same thing with them all. So, very unassuming, minus kind of just the extra little button there. I still need to figure out reattaching the Graphic, or the, not Graphics, the lock, the hanger. I actually want to put it towards the end of the blade, so I may tap into the sound ring, but yeah. Can't wait to take this into the park and kind of show off and confuse people when they're like, why doesn't mine do that? So good. I love it so much. Anyways, that's kind of just a rundown of what I had to do to it and kind of what went into making it. This is my first video I've ever kind of like filmed and produced. I just got this brand new camera, brand new to me, not a brand new camera. And so I'm kind of just learning how to do stuff. At some point I'll probably make more content on this. I'm definitely going to do a lot more content on the Asajj one whenever I decide to rebuild it. Because I'm going to do a custom internal chassis for it. It's going to have an 18650, but I'm probably going to wind up doing a recharge port just because the curved hilt makes it very hard to have a removable battery pack. I know that Disney had one in here, but in order to have the speaker, the battery, the board, and everything, I'm going to wind up probably just doing like a custom interior chassis. I want to try keeping the Galaxy's Edge mounting system because I like having that mounting system. I don't like having to run set screws and stuff like that. So hopefully I can keep the mounting system and still have the board in a proper location to where it will still react correctly. Yeah, and then again, can't wait to take this one out and kind of show it off once it's done. Like I said, I'm going to have a more in-depth process of what I'm going to do for this one. I will kind of document designing the chassis, the board, the wiring, all that sort of stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to be a long time from now, but I don't know how to close out a video. Goodbye, I guess. May the Force be with you.